that's what I Princess who adore you, just go ahead now. One has diamonds in his pockets, and that's a friend now. This one who wants to buy you rockets ain't in his head now. Marry him or marry me, I'm the one that like it, but can't you see? I ain't got no future or family tree, but I know what a prince and lover ought to be. I know what a prince and lover ought to be. Said if you want to come here, baby, just go ahead now. And if you like to tell me, maybe just go ahead now. And if you wonder about me flowers, just go ahead now. And if you like to talk for hours, just go ahead now. And if you want to call me baby, just go ahead now. And if you like to tell me, maybe just go ahead now. And if you like to buy me flowers, just go ahead now. And if you like to talk for hours, just go ahead now. If you want to call me baby, just go ahead now. And if you like to tell me maybe, just go ahead now. If you want to buy me flowers, just go ahead now. And if you like to talk for hours, just go ahead now. Oh, baby, just go ahead now. Just go ahead now. Oh, your majesty, just go ahead now. Come on, forget the king. Just go ahead now. Come on, come on, come on, let's go ahead now. Yeah, just go ahead now. If you want to buy me flowers, just go ahead now.
I'm starting with my intuition. I'm starting with my strengths. I'm getting back my old ambitions. Returning once again. My knuckles are so red and raw from breaking through these walls. I'm sick of all the others' talk and the laughter of my fall. I was a spark in the night, but you drowned me out. So I'll take the walls I'm inside and I'll burn them down. 'Cause I still got a fire in me. I never wanna let it go. I never wanna let it go. I still got a fire in me. I never wanna let it go. I never wanna let it go. Yeah, I still got a fire in me.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 5 minutes we will begin today's opening session of the United States Bowling Congress Annual Meeting. Please clear the floor so we will be able to begin promptly at 3 p.m. Thank you.
I've dealt with all my evils and ain't dealing with them twice. Yeah, there'll never be a sequel, and the curtain will never rise. Although my body's been aching, I held on to the ropes. Oh no, I never left the beginning, and I won't be letting go. 'Cause I still got a fire in me. I never wanna let it go. I never wanna let it go. I still got a fire in me. I never wanna let it go. I never wanna let it go. Yeah, I still got a fire in me. I never wanna let it go. I never wanna let it go. I still got a fire in me. I never wanna let it go. I never wanna let it go. I still got a fire in me. I was a spark in the night, but you drowned me out. So I'll take the walls I'm inside and I'll burn them down.
Ladies and gentlemen, our program will begin in about 1 minute. We need you to please scoot in, move in from the outside in order to accommodate all of our delegation today. Please utilize the seats inside the row. Thank you.
Mama, let me be. I gotta go. I gotta get away. Baby, I gotta go. I wanna fly away. I'm gonna leave you on mine. 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 Bye-bye. 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 You're no good for me, and I'm no good for you. I look you right straight in the eye. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave you on mine. You know I gotta go. I'm gonna leave you on mine. I gotta go. I gotta go, American woman. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome USBC Executive Director Chad Murphy.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 2018 USBC Annual Meeting. Thanks for being here. Please welcome to the stage USBC President Frank Wilkinson.
Stay? Okay. Good afternoon. Oh, I like that. It works every time, Chad.
It does.
Good afternoon. I love it. I love it. Oh, now I'm out of order. So, yesterday we had the opportunity to hear from Sam Glenn, our motivational speaker, the attitude guy, and you saw him paint an eagle right on the stage as part of the presentation. This wasn't the one he painted, but he did bring this one along. And we have an opportunity to give this away this morning. And of course, you know, the eagle has a special meaning for USBC. The eagle has been part of medals and a trophy for the USBC Open Championships dating back to the first event in 1901. So the staff has trusted me with this little bag. We're going to pick a winner and give this away. And I think this would make a nice, drum roll, there you go. This certainly would make a nice raffle or auction prize for BVL. Just saying. We have a winner. Douglas Tuning, CAUSBC. Doug, you in the house? Come on up, Doug. We need some music to get him up here. Doug, Scotty, whatever we're going to call you today. It's now my pleasure to officially call the 2018 annual meeting of the United States Bowling Congress to order. I'd like to invite Chad Murphy to introduce to you our board of directors.
Thanks, Frankie. From Fort Myers, Florida, Mike Cannington. From York, Pennsylvania, Jay Derriman. From Columbus, Ohio, Joe Diamond. From Kilmarnock, Virginia, Cornell Jackson. From Tumwater, Washington, Karen Jost. From El Paso, Texas, Carl Keelick. From Union, New Jersey, Kelly Kulick. From Waterford, Michigan, Mark Martin. From Raleigh, North Carolina, Melissa McDaniel. From Centralville, Virginia, Adam Mitchell. From Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, Steve O'Brien. From Langhorne, Pennsylvania, Bill O'Neill. From Orlando, Florida, Reno Page. From Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Dan Patterson. From Fayetteville, North Carolina, Nancy Shank. From Tonganoxie, Kansas, Jeff Ussery. From Wichita, Kansas, USBC Vice President Kathy DeSocio. And from Staten Island, New York, your USBC President, Frank Wilkinson.
Thank you, Chad. We're proud to have a very talented gentleman with us today for singing our national anthem. Reuben Roberts is currently a student at the University of Nevada at Reno, studying vocal performance. A native of Sardis, Georgia, he plans to go to get his doctorate in choral conducting and his dream to perform on Broadway. I know a little bit about that. Broadway, New York City, right? Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as we honor America and welcome Reuben Roberts to the stage.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Reuben. At this time, you can open up your program to page 27, and I'll provide you the credentials report. Association delegates, 837. Athlete delegates, 5. Hall of Fame delegates, 16. Board of Directors, 18, for a total voting body of 966. If you're still fumbling through the program, page 27. 20, oh, hey, easy. Easy. Hey, somebody set me up for failure here, Chad.
I did. Yeah.
Page 29.
Yes. I'd just like to say that there's no doubt that that was my fault. I apologize for that, Mr. Wilkinson.
Oh, no, Chad. Throw the numbers back up, please. 837 association delegates, 5 athlete delegates. Hey.
DOG would just like to say, we apologize for the error in the credential report. We will update the slide and bring it back up for you momentarily. We apologize for the mistake. It is certainly not Chad's fault.
It's much more fun to just blame Chad, Jason, but thank you very much. So we'll get that back to you when it's updated. As we begin our annual meeting, I'd like to take a moment to recognize past USBC leaders here in attendance. When I call you, please stand and wave. Our past USBC President, Darlene Baker. Past USBC Directors, Libby Fletcher. I just wanted to hear them scream for you, Libby. And Linda Scott. Ladies, thank you for your service to USBC and continued involvement in joining us here. Please take a look back at some of the exciting moments we've shared in the past year.
You can't win if you quit, so don't ever give up your dreams. And always work hard. And be awesome every day.
US Open champion. The legend. Here he goes for the 300. Solomon. He finishes with a 299. Back on tour. She's a champion again.
Tommy Jones lets that one go. He likes it! And they finish with a strike, and that is the gold medal.
Yes, she can. It carries.
Yes! Woo!
This past season was certainly a wonderful one for this association. Those videos are amazing, and when you see the sights and sounds as they're happening, It's just been a lot of fun to be a part of. I just want to reach out and say thanks to Jason Thomas for all the great video work. You're going to see a lot of things over the next couple days. But Jason's been working hard on it, and please give him a round of applause. And then obviously a second round of applause for everybody that held up a trophy. One of the core things that we do is crown champions and celebrate our successes. And we had a lot of great winners this year, so please give them a round of applause as well. As a starter, again, I'd just like to say good afternoon and welcome. We'll spend a lot of time on the business tomorrow, but we're really looking forward to this afternoon. And a big piece of this is industry partners. USBC has a ton of them, but honestly, it's the business of bowling, and it's everyone that's involved in it, including reporting it. And so I'd just like to spend just a few minutes and celebrate some of those folks who are in the room, but also some who are not. I'd start with the International Bowling Campus. Obviously, that building, the work that goes in it, I talk about it all the time. It really takes a servant's mentality to do what we do in that building. Our entire staff at the campus is a big part of it, and the partners. One very important partner with BPA, I know Frank DeSocio's in the room today, their board of directors. We really appreciate that partnership and all the things that go with that, so please give them a round of applause. My buddy John Harbuck's here from Strike 10 Entertainment, the marketing arm of bowling. I did it yesterday. We'll start it again if you don't mind. On this side of the room, go. Bowling. Go. Bowling. Go. Bowling. Thanks for that. John, thanks for what you do. The International Bowling Campus Youth Development Team, Gary Brown and Roger Nordhook, the work that they're doing, the entire staff. If you see in the videos some of the more public things that take place, but all the things that behind the scenes with Bowlers Ed and Bowlopolis and all the programs and the IBC Youth Committee that's here this week as well. All the work, important, very important, and thanks for doing it. Please give them a round of applause. As part of our promise to celebrate the past, this is one of my favorite days of the year, and I always have a little trouble at this point because of all the Hall of Famers that are sitting up front. I try not to make eye contact because a lot of them are my idols growing up, and so thanks for being here. But as part of that, our partners at the Hall of Fame and Museum, Mike Albee and Tracy Ebar, thank you for your service and what you do for bowling and celebrating our past. Tom Zernia with IBSE is here today. That Pro Shop is the center of the bowling universe inside that bowling center. I know a lot of Pro Shop operators are certainly in the room, but that's an important piece of our ecosystem, if you will, and so thanks to IBSE for being a great partner. DeJuan Clark's here from TNBA. TNBA has a long and storied history. It's a lot of fun to be a part of those partnerships. We're figuring out new ways to work together, and we're excited about that. So DeJuan, thank you for your partnership, and we look forward to a continued relationship. Please give TNBA a round of applause. Tom Clark and Kirk Von Kruger with the PBA. You'll hear more and more things about that. The PBA, one of the biggest brands in our sport. Again, celebrating those champions on a weekly basis and the major winners. They also help us out with the PWBA Tour, which is an important piece of business for it. So please, Tom and Kirk, thanks for all that you do. The PWBA came back a few years ago, and it's been a lot of fun. Wow, sorry. It's been a lot of fun to work on it. But honestly, the folks at the campus that are working on it the hardest are the ones that are putting in the work. And I'd just like to thank again Jason Thomas, but also Tennille Grijalva Milligan, who's doing the yeoman's effort. Thank you, ma'am. I really appreciate that. Our partners at SMART, Wally Hall, John Walker and Steve Morley, Lori Smedick leading at the staff level, just doing incredible work. We've got an announcement later today that we're excited about. The board with the distribution. The IBMA, Keith Hamilton, also with Bowler's Journal. Thanks for being here. Thanks for doing what you do. Thanks for covering bowling in a positive way. We love what you do. David Garber at Bowling Industry, same thing. Appreciate the work that you do to spread the wealth, the information that's important with bowling. Please give those guys a round of applause. Our partners at BBL, it's so much fun to watch that and how it's grown over the last few years. We have USBC board members that are part of that, and there'll be a presentation later. But Mr. John Laspina, thank you for what you do and that entire board. Our partners at Brunswick, Corey Dykstra and Brian Graham, and all the work that they do, we appreciate all the conversations at the Dialogue. Randy Schicker at Ebonite International, Scott Wilbur and Scott Hewitt at Motive, Bill and Barbara Chrisman, Dave Sims at Storm Products. Those manufacturers are delivering the products that we consume as consumers. They're doing a great job at it, but also working in partnership on a lot of different things around the industry, including some work with World Bowling on the Olympic piece. It's been a lot of fun to be in those rooms with those folks, and so please just give them a round of applause and a thank you from us. I believe Ken Keegan's in the room today from Logo Infusion, a great partner of USBC. Ken, thank you for what you do. Chris Chartrand and Kegel, our official lane maintenance provider for USBC. Those guys knock it out of the park at our tournaments all year long. So thank you, Kegel, Gus, everybody, John. We love you for it, and we really appreciate it. Pat Sinello at Cubic AMF, great partners. We've gotten to know them even better the last few years, delivering quality products to the industry and servicing it in a great way. So thank you, Pat. And these last two are really important. I don't know that they fall into this room as much as they should, but they really are important. Kevin Dornberger's here with World Bowling. You think about the videos, you saw Tommy Jones throw a strike to win the World Championship gold medal for the men's team last December. The work that World Bowling does, it's another governance organization. We're a member federation of it. And Kevin, thanks for the work. We really appreciate what you do. And then lastly, our friends at the United States Olympic Committee. We know them better than we probably ever have with everything that's gone on in the last year. It's been an incredible learning experience. Rick Adams and Lucy Denley and Jason Overstreet and I and everybody there. There's a lot of good that's come from those events over the last year. It's been time consuming. It's been interesting to say the least. The way we got here was kind of unorthodox. We hope that you guys will join us for the town hall after the annual meeting tomorrow so that we can answer any questions related to that. But I just want to shout out to the folks at USOC and thank them for working with us through the process. And then lastly, obviously, you guys heard me talk about it yesterday morning if you were in the room. All of those industry partners are important for USBC. All the dialogue and the energy and the conversation. But it doesn't happen without you folks in the room, our association managers, our volunteer board members. Everything you do to support bowling at the local level. I always say all great marketing is local, and you're doing it every day. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to work with you. It's important work that you're doing, and we love you for it. So please give yourselves a round of applause. Since we met last year, we've lost a number of former leaders and USBC Hall of Famers. We have prepared the following tribute.
Would it be all alone here in heaven.
Before we continue with our presentations, Jason, we have a message. I believe we have the credentials report.
Yes, Frank, we do now have a corrected credential report. I apologize for the error before. Instead of a voting total, we had total attendance at the bottom. Spending too much time on RG differential has affected my ability to add. Frank,
right.
Now back to you.
Thanks, Jason. So page 29 of your program book, you can report the credential report. 836 association delegates, 5 athlete delegates, 16 Hall of Fame delegates, 18 board of directors, for a total voting strength of 876 delegates. That doesn't, 35, 41, yeah, I think we're one off there.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team.
I love it. All right.
And if anyone would like, needs to hire a deputy executive director, my resume will be available shortly. We will get this straightened out.
I'd love to say this was planned. It's quite comedic, so we'll go with it. Planned. Oh.
One of those delegates was the athlete delegates should have been 5 on the screen. We have got that.
It's all right. It's all good. We'll
The 876 total is correct.
Thank you, Jason. It matters tomorrow when the legislation session's open. So for now, we're at 876. I'd like to take this time to invite my friend, a dear friend of bowling, BPAA past president, John Laspina, to the stage. John serves as the chairman of BVL, the Bowlers to Veterans Link, to give us an update on all the work that BVL does for our veterans.
So Frankie, you needed my help today? What did he do while I was in the back? What's going on here? Before I start, I have a couple of things. Where's my buddy Mike Albee? Is he here? He happens to be the chairman of the Bowling Hall of Fame, and I have a deck of cards from 1942, the first tool that was used by the Bowlers Victory Legion. They gave 100,000 decks of cards to soldiers, many disabled, so they would have some peace of mind. Hold that, it's the only deck we have.
I will take that.
Thank you. Is my friend Sidney Weiss in the room? Could you put the lights up a little bit? Would that cause more problems? World War II veteran, where are you, my friend? There he is to my left. God bless you. Next to me, he's the other nicest man on Long Island. So, are there any other World War II veterans? Anyone else that has served, just stand up because today is about you. God bless you all. We do this every year. I know we kind of miscued our timing. Any of the award winners, if you're here, go to the back of the room. I want to tell you about a gentleman who's going to speak for BVL today, and I hope for many times hereafter. Combat wounded Staff Sergeant, retired Johnny Joey Jones, turned a traumatic, life-changing disability into a personal mission to improve the lives of all veterans. Joey is the chief spokesperson for Zach Brown's Southern Ground, which produces an array of quality products and services, as well as television and music production, all for the purpose of financially sustaining Camp Southern Ground, a 400-acre camp and retreat for children ages 7 to 17, and military families. Joey is also regularly appearing on Fox News as an analyst. He's featured on television. He speaks to the issue that BVL has always supported, and that's recreational therapy. He's been on the big screen. He was in the movie Lincoln. He produced, wrote, and starred in an independent film, Range 15. He was on DirecTV's series, Religion of Sports, detailing Joey's upbringing and his involvement with NASCAR. Known to his friends as Triple J, Jones was raised in Dalton, Georgia, and enlisted in the Marine Corps after high school. During his 8 years of service, he worked as an explosive ordnance disposal bomb technician, deploying to both Iraq and Afghanistan on separate tours. During his last deployment, he was responsible for disarming and destroying more than 80 improvised explosive devices. On August 6, 2010, Joey was struck by an IED, resulting in the loss of both legs above his knee and severe damage to his right forearm and both wrists. He recovered at Walter Reed National Medical Center, a VA facility that BVL has always supported. After his initial recovery, he went for his BA at Georgetown. Wouldn't that be the natural thing to do? He has always fostered relationships with veterans. After losing his childhood friend to a PTSD-related suicide, Jones decided to make veterans' issues a key part of his professional work. Throughout his post-military career, he's advised many, including both President Bush and President Obama. He is involved with the House Committee on Veterans Affairs. He's a wonderful patriot. Escorting him down are all the award winners who have raised $1,069,000 this past year, led by Princeton, Illinois, USBC WBA, Metro Phoenix, and we always thank the state of California for raising this year $113,000. Meet Staff Sergeant Johnny Joey Jones.
Getting colder, summer getting warmer, tidal wave come across the Mexican border. Wide back gallon is cheaper by the barrel, just don't get busted singing Christmas carols. That's us, that's right, gotta love this American ride. Both ends of the ozone burning, funny how the world keeps turning. Look small, no hand, I love this American. Gets her rocks off, watching Desperate Housewife. Daddy works his ass.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joey Jones.
Good afternoon. Hey, listen, real quick, let's get a few things out of the way. I call it housekeeping, so that we both have a really good time and you guys don't hurt my feelings. I'm from Georgia. I talk really slow. Kind of takes me 5 minutes to say, hey, my name's Joey. And on top of that, I tell a lot of jokes, but most of them aren't funny. So if I kind of give you one of these, just laugh with me and make me feel good about it, okay? And then I'll know if you're paying attention. First of all, John, thank you so much. I met John a few months ago up in Colorado, and he's the only grown man I let call me babe, and for some reason it works for him, so we're rocking it. And then another thing real quick, I didn't write, produce, and star in the movie Range 15, but it was written, produced, and starred by military veterans that are close friends of mine. I was a co-producer and had a good part in there as a zombie, so not a lot of dialogue, but it was a really good time. And so, don't want to take credit that isn't mine. And I did advise President Obama, but I only had dinner with President Bush, so that everything else should be pretty accurate. And Real quick, I'm a pretty fluid guy. So I had dinner with President Obama. I was in the White House 2012. And I'll tell you why in a minute. And I was sitting there. I was within arm's reach of him. Actually, I was up against him at a table. And he was kind of known at the time as the first president to carry a cell phone, a smartphone. So he'd pull it out at different times in the evening and check it. And I thought, I'm going to read something I shouldn't read. Some guy's going to come out of the ceiling and pull me up, be interrogated here. But at some point during the dinner, he's a very impersonable guy. At some point, he looked at me and he said, Johnny, I'm not even going to try to impersonate him because it'd be pretty bad. But he said, Johnny, if you were right back where you were at, where you got hurt, if you're right back there now, what would you do? And I said, well, Mr. President, I'd step left. He didn't understand what I was talking about. Thankfully, it was a room full of generals. They all got it. He laughed because they laughed and we had a good time. But, what he was getting at, he wanted to know my perspective. And so I told him, listen, I don't know what happened everywhere else in Afghanistan or even the other parts of Iraq, but the two places I was at, they went from ghost towns and really mafia-held territories to flourishing markets and to minimal sacrifice of our own, probably mostly through sacrifice of the townspeople who put faith in us to be their security so they could rebuild their lives. And so that's kind of a snapshot of how I got involved and the things I do now. Just being a voice, I like to talk a lot. That's why I'm standing in front of you right now. And so to back up, tell you a little bit about myself, why I'm here today, and why what you all do is so important to me. That's kind of why I'm here to talk. So I was in the Marine Corps. I joined in 2005 from Dalton, Georgia. If there's anyone here from Georgia, you know about carpet. Every piece of carpet you walked on to get here was probably made in Dalton, Georgia. I would almost put money on it. And so that's where I'm from. I'm from Dalton, Georgia. I enlisted in the Marine Corps. My dad was a brick and block mason. My mom cleaned houses and bowled. And that was our life. And so I tell people I left and joined the Marine Corps to get away from hard work because my dad was pretty tough about it. And so I joined the Marine Corps. I was lucky enough in 2007 to move into a field called explosive ordnance disposal, or to be a bomb technician. And essentially, I was in Iraq. I was providing security for these bomb techs, and they would get out of their truck. We would find something hazardous. They would get out of their truck. They'd have kind of relaxed uniform regulations for no other reason than they knew they could get away with it. They used first names only. They didn't use last name or rank. They talked really cool. But at the end of the day, they took the risk that we didn't even know how to take. They walked downrange when we thought we had a bomb. They put their hands on it. They took it apart. They removed it, and they made life safer for not only us, but the people that lived in the countries we were working in. And I was just really impressed by that. My brother-in-law, who's been a fireman for 20 years, said it best. The difference between infantry or the ground troops and EOD is kind of like the difference between police and fire. You know when you want the police around and when you don't. But when you don't know who else to call, you call the fire department. It's kind of the same thing in the military. When you don't know who else to call, you call EOD, and I love that. I love that, the idea that my entire life and dedication would be to take a little bit of a risk that other people didn't have to take and hopefully make the world a safer place. So in 2007, while in Iraq, I laterally moved into EOD, started training with those guys, stayed on for another half a deployment, came back home, went to school for it, went back in 2010 as an explosive ordnance disposal technician, and because of attrition, meaning my buddies were getting killed and injured so much, I became a team leader on my first deployment as a school-trained EOD tech. And so I made it through almost 6 months in this deployment, and we were in the toughest and at the time deadliest place and part of the Afghan war. And finally, on the morning of August 6, 2010, I lost my legs. I like to say that I had my legs explosively removed to even the playing field because I was single back then. And the ladies like a guy with a southern accent, I'll just tell you that right now. And so I woke up in the hospital 2 days later in Germany. And usually when I talk, the focal point, what I want people to take away from what I have to say is the idea that changing your perspective can change the outcome and the adversity you're dealing with. For example, if you have a car accident or you're dealing with cancer or the loss of a loved one or financial hardships, those are things you can't control. You didn't choose to be in those situations. But when you get put in those situations, how you respond to them, well, that's 100% up to you. And oftentimes, getting through that adversity is as simple as starting with changing your own perspective. Focusing on the things you can control and focusing on how you're going to respond to that adversity. Someone once came up to me and said, I don't know how you stay so positive after you lost your legs. So I just looked them back in the face and said, I don't know how you ever get negative. You have yours. And that's not a perspective, or that's not a mindset that's easily obtained. My hope is that by hearing me talk and letting me tell my stories and share a little bit about myself with you, you don't have to go through something as severe as losing your legs or any number of other things to start living your life in a way that you add perspective. When you're driving in 5 o'clock traffic and you're late for somewhere and you really want to be there, so you start to get angry and the cars around you aren't moving and people are cutting you off and you start to get angry and you start to really, hate starts to fester in your heart, that's an opportunity to hit the pause button, to turn on your favorite song, because everyone's got an iPhone, to put the air conditioner at the perfect temperature, if it's 63, 71, 55, whatever it may be, and just enjoy the fact that the biggest problem in your life is that you're perfectly comfortable listening to the best music around, and you have to sit there and continue to do that. That's perspective. Perspective is being dealt a situation and choosing to respond to it. And so that's how I live my life. I've not always been able to do that, I'll tell you. So in August 6, 2010, I was taking apart bombs, just like I had done every day for 6 months. Essentially what happened is the explosive ordnance disposal technician, the EOD tech, the bomb tech that worked under me, did something he wasn't supposed to do. He picked up a piece of ordnance and moved it. It's not supposed to be moved because sometimes simply moving that particular piece of ordnance could blow it up. And he moved it because he thought he was making the world safer. He thought he was making our area safer. So I got on to him. Told him, and the reason why, just like with your children, you want to leave a lasting impression so they don't do that again. So it hurt his feelings and he walked away from me. And there was an engineer. Does anybody know what an engineer is in the military? So unlike bomb techs, engineers do more than just explosives. They actually sometimes are the ones in charge of building things, but a lot of times their traditional job, going back to that deck of cards in the 1940s, is to remove obstacles. So I had an engineer with me because that transforms into helping us remove bombs that are placed in the ground. And so this guy was from Knoxville, Tennessee. He was a University of Tennessee fan. So not really sure if he had a soul. I don't know how anyone could like that color of orange, but I'm from Georgia. Go Dogs. If anyone says Roll Tide, you're kicked out. So college football's a thing. You might have heard of it. We're second best. And so this guy was from Knoxville, Tennessee. He was a UT fan. He was a full-time fireman, and he was a reserve Marine, and he fought and clawed and found his way onto a full deployment in Afghanistan because that's what he wanted to do. He felt like he wasn't truly serving until he had that opportunity. So his name was Daniel Greer. He was standing across from me. He's 10 feet in front of me, and he would not leave me when my teammate walked away and had to check this piece of ordnance because he felt like it would be unsafe to leave me there by myself in case I got shot. So I told him, you need to back away. And he said, well, I'm backing away as far as I can. I'm going to make sure you're okay. So I reached over behind a wall. I shined a flashlight in the back of this piece of ordnance. And I looked at it to see if it had the type of fusing which would cause it to blow up at any moment. And to be honest with you, I can't remember what kind of fusing it had in it because after I shined my light and looked at it, when I took a step back to the right, remember I told the president I stepped left. When I stood right, I got blown up. I stepped on an IED that I didn't know was there. It flew me through the air and I landed on my back. And this is where a lot of people get confused. They think that if you get blown up, you get knocked out. But usually, unless something hits you in the head, you don't get knocked out and you kind of are awake. So I landed on my back. I looked down. My legs were gone. I knew what to do. I'd seen it dozens of times. Just earlier that week, I'd put a Navy corpsman on the bird who had lost his legs in a very similar fashion. And just found out that day he didn't make it, but we did everything we could do to keep him alive. So when I looked down, I saw my legs weren't there. I reached up to grab a tourniquet off my shoulder. You put the tourniquets on your shoulders and your hips because if you put them any further out, chances are they'll go flying with whatever body part you're trying to tourniquet. That's funny. You can laugh at that. And so when I reached up to grab a tourniquet off my shoulder, when I pulled my arm up, my hand stayed in my lap. And I remember thinking, and I'm not kidding you, I remember thinking, man, I can get by without doing squats, but how am I going to get another girlfriend if I can't do curls? And so I tried to put my arm away, and I was thinking these crazy Marines will just cut it on off trying to help me, and if I can just hide it and get to a Navy, someone with a college education, maybe they'll fix me. And so I remember thinking that. And so finally, after a few minutes, another Marine got to me. Because the thing is, in this war we're fighting, much like in a minefield, if someone gets blown up, you can't just run to them. That's what the enemy wants to happen. Because if that happens, they'll place other bombs around that bomb so that when you get blown up and someone runs to help you, they get blown up too, and you multiply your casualties that way. They know that we care about our injured and wounded, so they know that we'll send more guys in to help us, and our mission becomes to save lives, and it's kind of a war of attrition that way. That's how they work. So when I was laying there, I realized I was bleeding out of 3 limbs and not 2, kind of doing the math, and thought, well, chances are probably not going to make it out of this one, but that's okay. So when the Marine finally got to me, I was going into shock. And so obviously I'm thinking about doing curls and women. And so looking down, knowing that a bomb went off underneath me, as soon as he got there, as a healthy young man, there's one thing I wanted to know about. Is it still there? That's a knee. So get your mind out of the gutter. Because with one knee, you can do things like walk upstairs without a handrail, ride a motorcycle, climb ladders. I don't know what you guys are laughing at. But and so when he got there, I asked, do I have a knee left? And he said, yeah, I think so, ma'am. You're going to be okay. And he starts to go to work, and I got to thinking, this isn't good. It's probably not going to end up well. So I thought, Lord's Prayer. So I said, man, will you please say the Lord's Prayer with me? He said, yeah, sure, absolutely. So we started, our Father who art in heaven, with liberty and justice for all. And what I realized was that I hadn't gone to church quite as much as I thought I had. And I was really hoping that God left that one up to interpretation. It's one of those, the meaning is more important than the execution. So about that time, my eyes swelled shut. They shot me full of morphine, and I went off to La La Land. And 2 days later, I woke up. And the first thing I asked about was Daniel Greer. I remember just before I was knocked out, that I saw him laying on his belly, looking back at me. No blood, but kind of a blank stare on his face. And so I asked the nurse that woke me up. They pull a tube out of your throat and let you breathe on your own. You cough and choke, beg for water. They won't give it to you. It's torture, and that's okay. I said, is Greer okay? And she said, don't worry, honey, you're going to walk again. And for a minute, I was distracted from worrying about my buddy, and I heard her say, don't worry, honey, you're going to walk again. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if she said, honey, I was high on painkillers. But that stuck with me. Those words, don't worry, you're going to walk again, from a perfect stranger. And the thing is, it wasn't until years later that I realized I believed her. That just her telling me that, in the moment when I needed it most, I believed her. So for the next year, every time an obstacle got in my way that might prohibit me from walking again, well, it didn't have a chance on me because I believed the whole time I was going to walk again, because some lady I didn't know told me I was going to walk again. And see, that changed my perspective. That a year later, the moment I realized that, what I realized was that we have the opportunity to affect the trajectory of someone's life every single day. All we have to do is speak up. And so everyone in this audience has the opportunity to remind the person next to them that that obstacle they're going through, that adversity, that adverse situation, that torturous moment or that financial difficulty, you have the opportunity to change someone's trajectory, to tell them, don't worry, you're going to be okay again. You're going to walk. You're going to get through this. That's an amazing thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's powerful. And it's something that you all have. I tell kids at Camp Southern Ground every time they come in that patriotism isn't waving a flag or standing for the anthem, although those are things I believe in. Patriotism is loving that stranger you pass on the street because we're sharing this with them. We're in this together. We have more reasons in this country to dislike each other, more subgroups, more different religions and ethnicities and backgrounds than any other place in the world. Yet the only reason we exist is we believed in each other enough to fight for it. The only reason I'm standing here in front of you is you believed in me enough to put me back together again. And that's what I stand for. And I stand. It's a big deal. And so that's important to me that I get that point across to you guys. It's not because I went to war a couple of times or learned how to walk or went through this or went through that. It's that perspective that I gained that qualifies me to talk to you. I have credibility because of those things, but it's that idea, it's that experience that I think qualifies me to speak to anyone. So I ask you when you leave today to take that into consideration and try to apply it to your life. If you're going through something in your own life, tell yourself, listen, it's not the cards I'm dealt, it's how I play them. So as I went through my recovery, or as I went through that day when they woke me up, I finally got back around and asked, hey, how's Corporal Daniel Greer? She finally broke down and told me that his family was there. They had flown him to Germany. He had received a traumatic brain injury, and they were taking him off life support, and he had passed away. And that's important to point out, not because it's sad, but because it's very true. You see, oftentimes in life, we get hung up on what's fair, what should have happened, what shouldn't happen. He got this, why don't I get that? And the truth of it is, I was in charge of that scene. I was the expert who knew how to neutralize the bomb, and I'm the one that stepped on it. But Daniel Greer is the one that paid the ultimate sacrifice. He paid the price for my actions. And that's not to say I made a mistake. I didn't put the bomb in the ground. I did everything I knew to do. So it's not a guilt thing. It's a reality. And that same lesson can be applied in all things in life. Our blessings and our failures sometimes aren't our fault. See, we never, ever compare tragedy, but we always share in victory. And that's something I learned. A really wise person once told me, we owe it to those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice to live and live well. Now, to me, that means I owe it to Daniel Greer to not dwell on the fact that my actions led to that bomb going off. But for you, it means that you owe it to Daniel Greer to bowl, to enjoy your life, to do what you're doing, to bring joy to other people, to give families a place to go and enjoy themselves, to get away from these things I'm talking about that are so heavy. Part of changing your perspective is allowing you the opportunity to do so. And so I want to thank you for what you do because you save lives in that way. I spoke at a conference earlier this year, and it was family entertainment centers, which is essentially a lot of what you guys do. And I'm not sure if they truly understood what I was saying. What I was saying was thank you. Thank you for giving a dysfunctional family from Dalton, Georgia, a bowling alley to show up at, leave the Budweiser at home because Dad liked it too much, and the Bible at home because Mom recited it too much, and just bowl. Be in a family environment to throw balls down a lane and watch pins fall down. It was an amazing time. So thank you. Thank you for what you do. You gave my family a release. You give millions of families a release every day. And more importantly, or just as importantly, you give veterans who have struggled and people who have struggled in adversity a place to go and put a smile on their face again. And so back to my story, I recovered. I was injured August 6, 2010. I started going to college October 2010. I'm no mathematician, that's pretty quick. I was from Georgia, I needed all the help I could get. I started walking February 2011, and I started working full-time at the House Veterans Affairs Committee in June 2011. So that's 10.5 months later, I was working full-time. I didn't want to be a victim anymore. I didn't want to be a patient anymore. I didn't want to be a guy with no legs anymore. I wanted to be a contributive member of my society. That was my goal, and that's how I saw it fit. But there were other things I needed to do. Those were academic. That was work. I needed to get out and have fun. So for me, I found hand cycles. If you haven't seen them, three-wheeled bicycles that you crank with your hand. I knew I enjoyed it. I didn't know much about training for it. So when I finally got in a place where I could get on one and do it well and get my arms repaired, I hand cycled all the time. I hand cycled up hills, down hills. If you've ever been to D.C., I lived off the Mount Vernon Trail. I wore my name in that thing every single day. I didn't look up and research how to train. I didn't know what I was doing. And then finally one year I had the opportunity to compete in the Marine Corps Marathon. And so I show up with my hand cycle. I get there, I get ready to go. They set us off. There's 65 hand cycles. There were 13 world-class champions in their own right, hand cyclists there. And I took off, and I was scared to death. I was just going to embarrass myself. I was a Marine. I wanted to do well. So I hand cycled as hard as I could, and I was going around turns, and I didn't know who else was there. I thought it was just a bunch of wounded guys like me until finally I passed this guy, and he yelled a bunch of things at me, and about 5 miles later I realized it was in French. And so basically I passed someone that had come all the way from France to do this, and I felt kind of good about that. So when we finally finished, I finished 11th out of 65, and I finished ahead of 5 of the world-class athletes that were there. And that was a milestone for me. But doing that, it's not an accolade, it was an experience. It was an opportunity. I wanted to run a marathon. I ran all the time before I got hurt. And so I had a decision to make when my recovery. I could dwell on the fact that I'd never be able to run a marathon with my own 2 legs, or I could find a way to run a marathon myself. And so when we talk about wounded warriors and those who have suffered injuries, it's important that you understand we're not limited, we're adaptive. So we're not the resentment of war, we are the resilience of war. It's our perspective that sets us apart because we're surrounded by those who have a similar experience in that special sauce, that Paris Island, that Fort Benning, that idea that we're a part of something bigger than we are and we can get through it. But the cool thing is you all can learn that too, if you haven't already. And so I was able to do that on a hand cycle. I was able to get out and do something recreational, something that was just simply fun, and actually get something out of it that changed my own life, that gave me strength and gave me inspiration. And so as I finished my recovery, I went to school at Georgetown. Apparently they'll let anybody in these days. I started working on the House Veterans Affairs Committee in D.C., and what would happen was back then there were two places. There was Walter Reed, which was ran by the Army, and there was Bethesda Naval, which was ran by the Navy and where the Marines went. But all the amputee rehab was over at Walter Reed. So what would happen is the Marines and Army were kind of getting blown up about the same. There were 5 of us in the ward. When I got hurt 2 weeks later, there were 50. The war got really crazy there for a few months. And so because I was Neo Tech, there were only about 300 of us when I got hurt. There's almost 500 now in the Marine Corps, which is really small. It's about a quarter of the size of the Navy SEAL community. It's not to compare us, we're way cooler, but the point being, super small. And so what would happen is 50 guys up there, mostly guys up there injured, but about every 5th one was a Marine EOD tech, because if bombs are the main source of getting injured, the guys that work on them are going to be the ones getting injured most often. So I'd visit room to room. So what would happen was after I finished my recovery and got sent over to Walter Reed to get my prosthetics, I realized all those guys back at Bethesda never got to see anyone walking on legs. They didn't understand what was at the end of the tunnel. They couldn't see what they were working towards. And so I went around and I would visit my buddies that were there, the dozen or so of them, and I realized, why would I skip 5 Marines to visit the one I know? Why wouldn't I just visit all 5? So I tried that one Thursday evening, made it about halfway around. It was midnight, and they were screaming at me to get the heck out of the room. And so the next week I went and I asked other Marines to come with me and other soldiers to come with me even. And before you know it, I had a dozen coming with me, and we were visiting everyone there. And that's kind of what springboarded. Getting recognized for doing the right thing is kind of what put me at the dinner table with President Obama and all those other things that really don't matter at all. But I realized that's what I had a passion for. At the same time, I was dealing with painkiller addiction and post-traumatic stress disorder with my best friend who had just gotten back from Iraq, and trying to find him help, and the VA didn't want to give it to him. They didn't want to do inpatient rehabilitation. They only wanted him to do the NARC meetings. And so finally one day I got a call, and he took his own life. And at the same time, I was experiencing the joys of my recovery and seeing these guys room to room, and I realized that there's something more here. I've learned something that not everyone injured gets to learn, and that's the value of life, and that the fact that no matter what today holds, no matter how difficult it is, the prospect of tomorrow is a cause worthy of all your strength. And I had the opportunity to learn that. Either God or my family or the universe gave me that gift, and this was my opportunity to share it with others, so that's what I do now. And so finally, I got done with the Hill. I realized if I really want to change the world, I had to get as far away from D.C. as possible. Thanks for laughing. It ain't a joke. And so I moved to Texas. It's a true story. I was admitted to Georgetown and Harvard Law Schools. I was looking at those letters and looking at a job offer. It was 2014, and realized that 2 things. One, Texas was a better place to live than either of those 2 places, and 2, there were a lot less jobs than places in law school. So I went to Texas. I took an executive role at the Boot Campaign, which was a military nonprofit that got celebrities to wear combat boots to show their support for the military. And I started working in the military nonprofit space, and it changed my life forever, and I'll probably always have some connection to that. And so that was a trajectory in my life. In 2015, I met a musician named Zach Brown. You guys might have heard of him. He's really good. He talks about fried chicken all the time. We like our chicken fried. And Zach shared with me not his music, but his camp, Camp Southern Ground, a place where kids, specifically those in the autism spectrum, but all kids could come and be challenged to play archery tag and climb a ropes course and eat organic food that they helped grow in our garden, and do axe throwing and archery and biking through miles of trails and getting to see nature and understanding and appreciating the value and fun and just getting out and working a little bit and appreciating each other. And so that's something that really resonated with me. These things I learned in the veteran community. See, the one thing that you guys will learn if you care is there's no such thing as veterans issues. There are issues that we deal with as humans that happen to sometimes affect veterans at a higher number. That's all. I don't care if it's war or what it is. You know how many people's lives were changed because I got blown up? There's moms and dads and brothers and sisters and girlfriends and other girlfriends, and I've got little boys, something called a baby mama. Don't worry about that. If you don't have one, don't get one. But it affects everyone in your life, you know. And so this whole entire country has paid the price of us being at war. And so those issues like painkiller addiction or depression or finding a job or the fact that the government promises you one thing and does another, those are issues that we all deal with in some way, shape, or form, just like adversity. And I realized this was an opportunity to take what I had learned and were sharing with veterans and using to hopefully save a few other best friends because I couldn't save my own, and I could share those with kids. And the idea being that Zach has that we share in is rather than being the generation that reads on Facebook that some young man with Down syndrome has a bakery and going, how in the world is that possible? We could create the generation that says, I know. That's not a surprise. To understand that these kids that have their own types of challenges bring value and have gifts of their own. And not only deserve to be loved, but have more love in them than most of us have. And so that's where I work now. I work at a camp that specializes or focuses in the autism spectrum. But we also point an arrow towards kids who lost a parent in war, who had a parent who was injured severely in war, or had a parent who came home and died by suicide after war. And so that's the demographic of kids at Camp Southern Ground, and now we're building programs in the wintertime to bring in veterans and basically put them through camp and specialize in teaching them how to create relationships again and hold relationships again and be successful in the workforce. And so I share that with you because it all started with a lady looking at me and saying, honey, you're going to walk again. All these exciting things that I don't get to take credit for but get to tell you about and be a part of. They were all sparked by a selfless individual that I didn't know telling me what I needed to hear. Oh, and it was true when I needed to hear it. And so that's perspective. You see, a smart person, probably someone at Harvard Law School, would tell you that that glass of water in front of you is either half empty or half full. But I'll tell you as a Georgia boy that perspective is looking at that glass of water and saying, am I filling it up or pouring it out? And see, that's a gift that you have already. No form of education or tool in your toolbox is needed. You simply have to make that choice. And it's a choice I was able to make. And so I harp on that, and I want you all to take that away because it's incredibly important. There's no age limit in this. There's nothing that can hold you back. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing in front of you, and I don't have legs. And it's not because of how awesome I am. It's because someone told me what I need to hear, and I had a village to put the man back together. They say it takes a village to raise a man. I say it takes a country to raise him back up. And that's all of you. Your patriotism shines. I believe that America's greatest generation saved us from being at war with half the Western world. And it really bothers me when people start talking about how dire a situation we're in. Because I don't know what it's like to stand in a government cheese line or to turn in everything I have that's metal or to spend my last dollar on a war bond. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in the greatest country in the world. We live in the greatest country in the world, not because of the size of our military or the amount of wealth we have or even our free system of government. We live in the greatest country in the world because when one of us falls down, 5 of us pick that person back up, dust them off, and say, let's get that again. No matter what they look like, where they pray, or who they voted for. We inherently care about one another, even though we're subdivided in every way you can think of. Because we know how special it is to live here. We know that we live in a place where there is some sort of social guarantee. There is some sort of care by the numbers. But there's also personal accountability and the opportunity to go from here to here on our own. I'm a living, breathing product of that. Before I came up here, John told me to break a leg, and I looked back and said, well, if I got to wait on the VA to fix it, it'd take another year, so don't say that. You all raise money, from what I understand, upwards of $1 million, and you fund programs and recreational opportunities for veterans. I'm here to tell you thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of 22 million veterans. People say 1% of the military has served. That's a lie. Less than 1% is serving. 22 million people, almost 10%, have served. There's another 60 million living in their homes. Military service affects each and every one of us. So your generosity, your care, your passion, your patriotism, most importantly, your love, is going towards and helping men and women who are willing to raise their right hand. And by the way, if you've ever called me a hero, do it because I raised my right hand. Everything else is circumstantial, and by that measure, there's a lot of heroes in this room right now. But you give your money towards causes that help those individuals reclaim their life and, most importantly, reclaim their smile. I can tell you, without recreational therapy, without opportunities to smile and enjoy life again, and being taught that I could do so, all the other stuff wouldn't matter. The time on Capitol Hill, the college, all of it. The impromptu line in the Academy Award-winning film Lincoln, all of it. None of it would matter. None of it would have been possible. So on behalf of all veterans, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for everything you do. Please continue to do it. Most importantly, the best way to serve our veterans and to serve this country is to look to your left, look to your right, and find a reason to smile and tell that person you can walk again. You can get up and you can do it. Listen, I'm Johnny Joey Jones. God bless you all. God bless America. Thank you very much.
You know what to do, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
My name is Andrea Bushnell. I'm from Payson, Utah, and I'm igniting the sport of bowling and the progress through our youth programs and showing them it's just a fun sport. You don't have to be so serious about it. Taking them out to tournaments. We actually just had one of our junior bowlers who was his first time ever bowling the tournament at Pepsi, and he won the overall and is going to be going to Dallas this year.
Hello. Wow, that was so emotional backstage. I can only imagine what it's like seeing him from out here. Thank you, John. Thank you, Joey. And thank you, BVL, for all you do for our veterans. At this stage of the meeting, we would like to share with you a series of industry updates. As you know, USBC works closely with many industry groups for the betterment of bowling. We've invited some of our partners to share a short video with the delegation. Our first update comes from SMART. SMART is the scholarship program that helps thousands of youth bowlers pay for college.
I got about a year of college paid for just off of SMART money, and I think for kids coming into school and for parents, there's no better sport to go into because the money that you put into the experience all comes back once you go to college. So it really just pays you back in the end.
So I use it for some of my summer classes, which pays in all in full, which is awesome.
My parents were very hyped in me bowling tournaments because if I would win, it'd be less money that they had to pay for college. So when my dad found out about the SMART program, he was really inclined me to bowl tournaments that were sponsored by USBC. And as I started to win some money, SMART kept sending letters and telling me how much money I had, and it was very easy for him to go online and get all my money and send it over to my schools.
I meet people outside of bowling who have no idea about the SMART Fund, and I tell them that bowling provides scholarship money if you do all your tournaments, and they're amazed, and the next thing I know, I see their kids bowling in leagues.
There are some rock stars showcased in that video. We should give those athletes a nice round of applause, too. We certainly thank the SMART board members Wally Hall, Steve Morley, and John Walker for their leadership. We're also pleased to announce, on behalf of the SMART Board, an income-earning distribution of $1.75 million for the year of 2017. A distribution of $1.75 million for this past year. That's new money for SMART providers to offer in scholarships for young bowlers. This distribution will show in provider accounts by the end of May. So thank you to those that provide opportunities to our youth bowlers using the SMART Fund, and you'll have additional opportunities to provide to those young athletes. And thank you for SMART and all that you do. Next, we have an update from our campus partners at the Bowling Proprietors Association of America. Here's a video update from BPAA President Nancy Schenk.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a great convention. On behalf of BPAA and our 3,800 members, we're glad that you are here learning more about bowling, how to be a great association, and what it takes to make this industry better. We're proud of our partnership with USBC and all that we've been able to accomplish together. We've been through 3 great years of the PWBA. How exciting is that? As you've probably heard, we're the sponsors behind the PBA Tour this year, the Go Bowling PBA. We believe that bowling at its best level and highest level is something we should be showcasing, and what greater way to bring attention to our sport other than through our professional athletes. We're also proud of our partnership with USBC in the youth department. The events that are coming out of that department, the Youth Open and Junior Gold, are class acts, and we're proud to help sponsor those. Top of mind awareness is a huge priority at BPAA. We believe in showcasing bowling to the American people, because if we can remind them of how fun and cool it is to go bowling, we believe that they'll come into our centers, and then we'll hopefully convert them into league bowlers. This year, some of the things that we've done to showcase bowling, besides being sponsors of the PWBA and PBA, is we've put on a NASCAR race. This upcoming year, we'll be going to Watkins Glen, which will be super exciting. And this past year, we also did one of my favorites, National Go Bowling Day. With the help of Kelly and Diana, we got to bowl on the streets of New York. How cool is that? This year, more great things are coming, because we'll be having National Bowling Day again. This year it'll be on August 11th, 2018. As my term of being the BPA president is about to come to an end, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank those who have helped along the way. To Frank Wilkinson, Chad Murphy, to the entire USBC board, to my own BPA board, and to Frank DeSocio, thank you for allowing me to help bowling prosper over the last 2 years. Again, wishing you many successes and wishing you many strikes. Thank you, everybody. Look forward to continuing to serve our great sport.
The collaboration and relationship between USBC and its proprietor organizations is terrific, and we continue to find new ways to work together. I'd like to welcome to the stage BPA President Nancy Schenk with a special presentation.
I have no idea what filter Jason Thomas used on that accent. It's not that bad, is it? Oh well, I'm a Southern girl, born and raised, and I love it. Part of the portion, well, let's just start that over. On behalf of BPA, we're glad to be here, and you've heard everything that we've done this year in conjunction with the USBC, of which we're greatly proud of. But today I get to come out to award the BPAA Association of the Year Award. This year, this award goes to a group that deserves it just for doing what they're supposed to do and doing it to the highest level. We actually did not at the very beginning have a nomination, and we opened up and asked some people of what association stands out. And we asked some people from other associations to help us pick this person, or this group of people. It's not a person, it's a group of people. So today I am honored to award this to Southern Nevada USBC. So if Vern, if you'll come on up to get this on their behalf. it's funny, when I met Vern and they introduced us and they said, hey, I was like, oh, I know you. We run the extravaganza tournament out in Las Vegas, and Vern and his group of great volunteers show up, and not just for us for the extravaganza tournament, but as you know, there are tons and tons of tournaments run in the Las Vegas area, and every single time these wonderful people come out, help the bowling centers, do what's ever asked, go above and beyond like so many of you do, and it is our privilege and my privilege and the BPA to honor the Southern Nevada Association for everything they do for not only the bowlers but the bowling centers. And so Vern, it's my honor to award this to you.
Thank you.
USBC and BPA work hand in hand with our partners at Strike 10 Entertainment on joint marketing and sales programs. Here's an update from Strike 10 President John Harbuck.
Hey, good afternoon, delegates. I hope you're having a great convention. When I get the chance to speak with you, or in this case, give a video presentation, I like to remind you about what Strike 10's mission is. Number one, we're about generating top-of-mind awareness for the sport of bowling. Number two, we're about driving traffic into our member centers. And number three, we're about developing sponsor partners who share our vision for the sport and want to invest in the great sport of bowling. These sponsors, many of whom are returning multi-year partners, help us reinvest in our sport and work towards achieving our mission. One of our newest and most unique partners is Strike Spirits, which is produced by California-based Rebel Spirits, who specializes in the creation and distribution of high-quality and unique spirits products for major retailers like Costco, Walmart, Trader Joe's, and Total Wine, to name just a few. Strike Spirits has created this beautifully designed bowling pin-shaped bottle. And from our early tastings and presentations with our proprietors and consumers, this product is getting rave reviews. Go Bowling continues to leverage its partnership with NASCAR to build top-of-mind awareness for the sport. In Q3 2018, Go Bowling is taking its NASCAR Roadshow to upstate New York and Richmond, Virginia. The Go Bowling at the Glen NASCAR race runs at Watkins Glen International on August the 5th and will be broadcast live on NBC into over 120 million households nationwide. During the week of September 16th, Go Bowling will play a major role in activating fans for the 2018 PWBA Tour Championship. Go Bowling will also be the entitlement sponsor of the Go Bowling 250 NASCAR Xfinity race. Both events will take place at the newly renovated Richmond Raceway, where Cubic AMF will install 4 regulation lanes for the season-ending PWBA Tour Championship event. This event will air live on CBS Sports Network Wednesday night, and on Friday, the Go Bowling 250 will air on Fox Sports 1. Both telecasts will air live and in prime time, reaching a combined national TV audience of over 160 million households. In addition to our PR plans for the Go Bowling NASCAR activations, in May, we have a special editorial section that will publish in Street and Smith Sports Business Journal, the leading sports marketing publication in the U.S., plus we'll again celebrate National Bowling Day on the Plaza with a cast of Fox and Friends. We'll bring in professional bowlers and industry leaders to help launch National Bowling Day on Saturday morning, August 11th. Utilizing social media to build top-of-mind awareness for bowling continues to be a major objective for Strike 10 Entertainment. Rich content is vital to reach and engage today's sophisticated consumers. To help our members keep up with the rapidly changing social media landscape, we've created the Social Media Content Bank that contains a variety of short videos, photos, and social posts designed and produced specifically for our bowling proprietors to use for their social media marketing channels. On behalf of everyone at Strike 10 Entertainment, I want to thank you all for your support, your hard work, and your dedication to the great sport of bowling. Thank you, and go bowling.
For our next update, we want to share with you a video from our friends and partners at TNBA, the National Bowling Association.
My name is Dewan Clark, President of the National Bowling Association, and I want to once again thank you for the opportunity of being able to address you here at the convention for USBC. I want to particularly thank Frank, Chad, and Tremont for strengthening the relationship between TNBA and USBC. TNBA requires our bowlers to be members of USBC, and with that being said, we consider ourselves a subset of USBC. This year, they allowed their voting machines to be used at our convention, which really sped up the process. They've also created scholarships for our youth to allow them to participate at the ITRC Training Center, where we're now seeing the fruits of the labor coming with the members establishing themselves both as amateurs and professionals. We also appreciate USBC being there in this year's championship tournament for TNBA, where we had to really establish grounds for fairness in our game, and USBC was there to allow us to make the right decisions and keep our game fair for all. Next year, 2019, will mark the 80th anniversary of TNBA. We're going to be in St. Petersburg, Florida. We'd like to extend an invitation out to each and every one of you to come out and participate in both our championship tournament as well as being members of our organization. You can get more information about becoming a member at tnbainc.org, tnbainc.org, and we'd be more than welcome to have you come and join us. Thank you very much.
Here with us today, let's give a warm welcome to President of TNBA, Dewan Clark. Thank you for your partnership, Dewan. As we continue, I would like to welcome up Managing Director of Marketing for USBC, Tremont Thomas. Tremont serves as our staff liaison to charity and affinity partners. Today, he is going to share an update on USBC's Bowl for the Cure program and our partnership with Susan G. Komen for the Cure. Welcome, Tremont.
Good afternoon and welcome to Meet for the Cure 2018. Before I start, I want to just thank you. There's been a lot of twang on this stage, so thank you for letting a Southern California boy speak and be next. So here we are, another year, another convention, and another convention topic that aligns well with what we do for Bowl for the Cure, igniting progress. 18 years ago, when WIBC chose to partner with Susan G. Komen, that was a great example of igniting progress. It was an innovative way to show the spirit of the bowling community. During our partnership, more than $11 million has been raised since 2000, and we're closing in on $12 million. These funds have been used to support thousands of mammograms, child care, treatment programs, and doctor's visits. So I think it's really important for us to really remind you where this money goes. Next, I'd like to share what our strategic priorities are at USBC for 2018, specific to Bowl for the Cure. Really, engagement is our #1 focus. We've really decided to concentrate on our social channels. One of the things that we've been doing on Facebook and Twitter as well is that we've been really working to improve the content, improve the message, focusing on the celebratory nature of all that we do, and showcases some of our wins and victories, running more contests, and really just trying to engage people and get them excited about what Bowl for the Cure has to offer. One of the things we've also focused on is refreshing our content and creative. Just, again, a celebratory message really designed to connect with everyone and get them excited about Bowl for the Cure. Also reminding you all how easy it is to run a Bowl for the Cure event or simply just pass a hat around at league. It's just a great cause and it's something that we can easily do, so it's our goal to really educate, inspire, and motivate you all to participate. One of the things I'm most excited about is our semi-annual association outreach campaign. Each year in February and August, we will be conducting a spirited call to action to our associations with an attempt to educate and get more of you involved. I'd also like to share Susan G. Komen's 2018 focuses. A lot of the times I receive calls or emails where people are asking, where does the money go and how does Susan G. Komen use it? I think first and foremost, one of the things that we should always remember is that when you raise money and donate to Susan G. Komen, you have options. You can either donate and support your local community, or you can fund research. So Susan G. Komen has two strategic imperatives this year. Number one is to reach health equity. And what that simply means is to ensure that regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, or income level, people have access to the care that they need. The second piece is really important, and that's just to continue with the research. With that research, they create drugs that enhance or extend the lives of people who have already been diagnosed. And additionally, it continues the search for the cure so they can eradicate breast cancer forever. And then one of the things that they're also focused on is affiliate network optimization. Similar to what we've gone through here at USBC, they're focusing on their local affiliates to strengthen them. They've had some mergers, and they're really focused on creating one strong, unified Susan G. Komen. And why are they doing all this? If you were here last year when they announced their bold goal with the desire to reduce the deaths, sorry, let me do that again. Someone else got a do-over, so let me do that again too. So the goal is really to reduce breast cancer deaths by 50% by 2026. So what's next? Really, it's up to all of us in this room, right? We're the Bold Pink community. I'm not sure many of you realize that over 75% of the dollars for Bold for the Cure come from your associations. This is the group that makes it happen. We have over 200 associations that participate in Bold for the Cure annually. Now I'd like to share a video that celebrates 18 years of commitment, community, and love. A key goal of our February Association Outreach Campaign effort was to identify what we refer to as Bold Pink champions. We heard so many great stories, and while it wasn't easy to recognize only one person today, we did identify someone who deserves to be recognized in front of all of us. Today, we'd like to honor Anna Marie Green of Great Salt Lake USBC for her distinguished support of Bold for the Cure. Please join me in welcoming Anna to the stage. And on behalf of USBC, I'd like to present you with this award for your distinguished support.
Yeah, I don't want to drop it. Speech, speech, speech. There's TVs down here. Kind of fun watching yourself on TV, but then you get distracted. Good afternoon. Very good. I am truly honored to by this award, but I would not be standing here in front of you today if it were not for others. I do not do this by myself. To the Bowl for the Q Committee members, past and present, you come together every October and every 2 weeks afterwards until our event to put the pieces in place to make a successful event every year. I share this with you. To our proprietor, the White family and Bondwood Bowl, thank you for your donation every year of your facility, your lanes, your shoes, your employees. I share this with you. To our sponsors, you help us every year with your generosity. I share this with you. To the thousands, and I mean thousands, of participants, whether you bowl or if you buy an opportunity ticket because raffles aren't legal in Utah, or you donate money. I hope they never hear that. Anyways, I share this with you. If it were possible, I would have everyone who has ever been involved one way or another here on stage with me. Because of you, I am here. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You make me look good. Thank you.
Now it's time to show our unity with our annual Meet for the Cure tradition, the glow stick ceremony. If any of you are a breast cancer survivor or know someone who is currently fighting breast cancer in the room, please stand, crack your glow stick, and wave it in the air. If any of you know someone who has struggled or is currently fighting against breast cancer, please stand, crack your glow stick, and wave them in the air. Now those of you who are willing to unite with us behind the cause of ending breast cancer forever, please stand, crack your glow stick, and wave them in the air. Now I ask you to please join me in honoring our breast cancer survivors.
He said, I know that you're afraid, and I am too. But you'll never be alone, I promise you. When you're weak, I'll be strong. When you let go, I'll hold on. And when you need to cry, I swear that I'll be there to dry your eyes. When you feel lost and scared to death, like you can't take one more step, just take my hand, together we can do it. I'm gonna love you through it. She made it through the surgery fine. They said they caught it just in time, but they had to take more than they planned. And now it's 4 smiles and baggy shirts.
From all of us at USBC, the bowlers who raise funds, the participants in events, the fighters, the supporters, our loved ones, we are proud to present Susan G. Komen with this check for $413,922.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned up. Starting right now, I'll be strong.
As we conclude here today, I'd like to sincerely thank the bowling community for continuing to embody the spirit of Bowl Pink, and we thank you so much for your support.
Going this way, girls.
Hello, I'm Jessica Tyler with the Metro Detroit USBC Association. Oftentimes we have bowlers that tell us that they are not sure of tournaments or what awards are available to them or where they can look for rules. So this year, Metro Detroit issued every bowler a personalized handbook which highlights all the rules, local tournaments that we offer, and the awards that are available to them. Further, this year we have took on our 3rd year for the Bowling Showcase. This is a weekly televised bowling competition between most bowling centers that are associated with us, both youth, both adult tournaments, and we love to have it. It's televised every Saturday on our local station, and it shows the tournaments and the competition in a Baker format between all of our USBC bowlers.
Thanks, Shimon. Thank you, ladies. And thank you again to all of our associations that contribute to the cause. We should all certainly be proud. We're now going to continue to celebrate our industry partners with a video from the Professional Bowlers Association. Let's take a look at some of the most memorable moments in 60 years of the PBA.
Might be converted. It's over now.
Wasted no time at all.
I don't believe it! I don't believe it!
The building has been evacuated. A telephone bomb scare was received.
Strike to claim it, a strike to claim it, and he got it!
That is why I said at number 5. Are you kidding me? That's right. Who do you think you are? I am. He has just made his 52nd 300 perfect game.
Chris. Unbelievable.
So many great moments and a lot of history. Please give a round of applause to Tom Clark, Kirk Von Kruger, and everybody involved with the PBA. I believe Pete McCordick's in the room today to do. The United States had the privilege of hosting the World Championships in Las Vegas last year. We saw firsthand what an exciting competition on the World Bowling stage. For an update of the work of Bowling's International Federation, let's watch this message from World Bowling.
Good afternoon, USBC. This is Kevin Dornberger. I'm the CEO of World Bowling. We wish to welcome you on behalf of our president, Sheikh Talal, our board, all of the delegates, the friends, the guests, the board for USBC, and most importantly, everybody who cherishes our sport of bowling. We value our relationship with USBC. You are one of our member federations and long-standing, certainly one of the relevant ones. And to show that relevancy, I would remind everyone that we have a World Youth Championships in Detroit this year from July 24 to August 3. It's available for spectators. If you want to see the best youth bowlers in the world, it's a great place to come and enjoy, and I'm sure that Detroit would be a great host for you. We also value our relationship with the USBC Masters, Queens, US Open, and US Women's Open. They've been added back into the World Bowling Tour this year, and we look forward to that relationship going forward. We also value our relationship in a long-standing, I think, going forward relationship with USBC and South Point in Las Vegas. We're going to have 2 World Championships in 2019 in that facility, and also 2 in 2020. Certainly one of the best bowling facilities in the world. Finally, but not least, we value our relationship with USBC in regard to the Olympic effort. We've had meetings with USBC and the other bowling integers, the commercial industry. This spring, we are putting together a plan, a business plan, to go forward with our petition to Paris to be included in the Paris 2024 Games, and then subsequently, a couple of years from now, for LA and the 28 Los Angeles Games. Nobody will be writing a big check for this. If you have questions for your leadership, don't ask them how much it's going to cost, because it's a very small amount, and World Bowling likes to think we're going to cover most of it. We look forward to our relationship with you going forward. We wish you the best of conventions. Pass wisely. Thank you.
Well, thank you for all your patience today. Many of you in this room are great supporters of the International Bowling Museum and Hall of Fame. The Hall plays a very important role in preserving the history of our sport. Our final industry update today, we are thrilled to welcome the new president of the International Bowling Museum and Hall of Fame, a man who probably doesn't need an introduction, but we'll give him one anyway. The president of the Hall and a Hall of Fame member himself, Mr. Mike Albee.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for the great introduction. I appreciate that, and I'm honored to be standing here and serving along with the board of directors of the International Bowling Museum and Hall of Fame. I can tell you, through all the years of my career, I don't think I ever dreamed of being up here representing the history of our sport and the museum, but I'm quite honored and humbled to be doing that. Saying that, we certainly want to thank the USBC, Chad Murphy, the board of directors, and all the delegates and members of the USBC for your continued support of the Museum and Hall of Fame. Obviously, we don't exist without all the bowlers and all you in the room, so thank you so much for that. I'd also like to have special thanks to John Laspina. John, thank you for the deck of cards and the historical value of those, and we'll take great care of those at the museum. But also for John, many of you may or may not know, but John is also helping us with our newest display coming up in May at the museum in Arlington, Texas, the Andy Verapapa display, along with the Verapapa family donating some of the items as well. But John is a big part of that, and we greatly appreciate his support with the items, but financially as well. Thank you, John. We appreciate that. And now I'd like to introduce our Director of Business Development, Mr. Tracy Ebarb, to give you the final part of our presentation. And thank you so much for your support. We greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Now then, you've heard all these dialects or twangs. This is East Texas. So, you know, I'm partial to mine, but you know, we can tolerate those southern ones. But John Laspina's got the richest one probably that's been up here so far. So thank you, John. I do want to give you an update, brief update of things going on at the museum. And I think I skipped a slide. Let me see if I can go back. There we go. There we are. It has been a very good year for us at the museum and the Hall of Fame, and more of you have come. But one of the things that you've done besides coming is join us as sustaining members. And a number of you came by the booth this week and have renewed your membership in the Sustainer program or joined as a new sustainer. But I want you to consider what you've done between last year and this year. And you see it on the slide there. And sustaining members in 2016, we had 46 total. Now, that doesn't seem like very many because it's not. But the reality is that you have responded very well in this past year, and we celebrated the end of 2017 with over 170 sustaining members. And I appreciate that. What has happened, when I was here this time last year, I knew about 3 of you. And I have had the great privilege of coming out to many associations, state associations, and local, and meeting you and encouraging you to be involved with the museum and the Hall of Fame, and you've responded. Something that the veteran earlier, Joey, mentioned that is really true, and what I've learned in the last year and a half in working in the bowling community is that you help out. And guys, that's what we need. That's what I need as the director at the museum. We need those sustaining members. And we're working very hard to make the museum something not just that you can come to occasionally, but something that you can access through an online capability and find some resources there that you can use in your meetings, in your centers, just for recreation and for fun just to watch. We're working very hard at digitizing a group of videos that go back many, many years that you will enjoy seeing once we can get them available to you. And that's what your membership dollars go for, and we appreciate that very much. There's 5 levels of sustaining membership. I always tell you, if someone's thinking of becoming a sustainer, always start at the top, because we'd love to have those $5,000 sustaining members. We have a number of those that are industry partners, and we appreciate those. But guys, as you all know, it's the rank and file that makes this boat float. And those $29 memberships are extremely important, and it's something that most all of us can afford, so we appreciate that very much. Also, our brick program, you'll see the Utah State WBA brick. That's our newest large brick that was installed this past fall. Many of you, we got some Utahers here. Many of you have taken advantage of this. There is no better way to commemorate or to honor or to give a memoriam. And if you've been, you understand, just how great it is to walk into the campus and see the bricks everywhere, and you look around, you find your name, you find where you are, and take a picture. So if you need information about that, that is on the website, or you can see me as well. Many of you this week have come by the booth and bought a $20 raffle ticket. Now, in June, we will give away a $5,000 cash prize. This is our one raffle, and I know I've been in enough of your state meetings and Hall of Fame banquets that you've got, 50-50s every third day. This is the one that we do. And most of the bowling centers that you go to may have access to raffle tickets that you can buy. You don't have to be present to win, and it is a $5,000 cash prize. You can still see me before we leave and get your ticket here. Also, and thank you, Nancy Schenck, for the plug a while ago about the Extravaganza Tournament. Our Extravaganza Tournament is a huge, fun tournament. Again, over $20,000 in cash and lots of prizes and giveaways. If you've not been to the Extravaganza Tournament, you should come. We have a few spots left. It's May 31st through June 1st, this coming at the end of May, and it is the most fun that you'll have bowling. Well, we'll just say I wish Nancy could come back and explain some of the games that we'll be playing. Trust me, no matter your skill level, you could win. And so it's a lot of fun. You need information about that. It's on the website. We'd love to have you join us. Our satellite museum here in Reno, how many of you have been over there this week? thank you. Make a point to go over there. It's newly renovated, new exhibits, and we're very proud of that. It's up to date as of 3 weeks ago, and so please go by and take a look at the new museum. We got some other things coming up there as well. Mike kind of stole my thunder on the Andy Vera Papa. That is actually, it's up now. We thought it might be a little bit later, but Jessica Bell, our curator, worked very hard because this is such a rich, rich exhibit. And as Mike said, the Vera Papa family is going to come at the end of May and see the exhibit themselves. They've donated a lot of his memorabilia and historical things and trophies, and it's just really remarkable. And John Laspina, as Mike said, has been just the most instrumental part of that in making this happen. And it's just one of the richest things that you will ever see. All the scrapbook and the videos, it's just, if no other reason to come to Arlington, that's the one. Here's another one. Now you recognize that picture. All of you have seen that. And we've got more of those, and as well as the scrapbook. One of the exciting things that's happened this past year, as we've begun a legacy giving or a bequest giving program at the Museum and Hall of Fame, is we've actually had 2 bequests that have been passed on, or from folks who have passed on. And so that's something that we're going to be expanding. It's something that anyone can do, regardless of if you're a high net worth individual or if you're like me. You can leave a legacy gift that will continue to support the sport that you love long after you're gone. So if you need information about that, contact me, and there'll be some available on the website as well. At the end of the day, we belong to you, and we thank you. To the USBC, to the local associations, state associations. Guys, we would not be there, and we are there for you. But we couldn't be there without you. We have so many great industry partners, but the bowlers are why we're there. We are there to preserve the history, to promote the sport, but most of all, to make sure that everyone that even remotely knows what bowling is knows that we're an important part of the American culture and the world culture of sports. Our attendance this past year was higher than it's ever been, and it will be exceeded, or will exceed that again this year, and we want you to be a part of that. Come see us in Arlington, and again, thank you all.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Wilkins from the Greater Omaha Area Bowling Association. And the way I'm igniting progress in my area is through the lane certification team. I have 2 youth bowlers, 17 and 19, and when I joined the board, I was assigned to the lane certification team. And I said, all right, you guys, you like math, you like bowling, let's go. And they came with me to the different houses in the Omaha Metro, and they learned how to do the certification, and they loved it. And that is the way I am helping to ignite progress.
Go Omaha. So our independent auditors have finally taken some time to make sure that our credential report is correct. So I believe at this time we can provide that to you. Touche, touche. All right, if this doesn't add up, then we give up. Page 29 in your program book, 836, 5 athlete delegates, 17 Hall of Fame delegates, 18 board of directors, for a total voting body represented today so far, 876. And we will certainly update this tomorrow. Thank you to the independent auditors. Thank you, Jason. I'm glad we had no more technical difficulties.
Our annual USBC Hall of Fame inductions will be held later tonight as we welcome our newest inductees. We have several Hall of Fame members in attendance with us today that we would like to recognize. Please stand when I call your name. The class of 1983, Betty Morris Lobb. Class of 1988, Virginia Norton. Class of 91, Besma Grinfelds. Class of 94, Bob Hart. Class of 1998, Barry Asher. The Class of 2000, Hazel McCleary. Class of 2001, Bill Spigner. Also in the Class of 2001, Mike Albee. Class of 2002, Fred Borden. Also Class of 2002, Mark Jensen. Class of 2004, Mark Lewis. Class of 2007, Gordon Vatican. Class of 2010, Marshall Holman. Also in the Class of 2010, Betty Barnes. The Class of 2011, Jeff Riggles. Class of 2013, Sandy Postma. Also Class of 2013, Shirley Levins. Class of 2014, John Gaines. Class of 2015, Larry Law. And the Class of 2016, Steve Klemkin. Now let's take a look at the Class of 2018.
The 2018 USBC Hall of Fame class includes a group of 4 outstanding professional and amateur performers, an iconic coach who coached them all, and one of the PBA's greatest showmen. We start with the energetic Tim Mack, who was a dominant force on the world bowling stage before eventually becoming one of the sport's greatest global ambassadors, which led to his induction in the Pioneer category. Next is Kendra Gaines, who won Amateur Bowler of the Year honors twice before moving on to the PWBA, where she was one of the top players until the tour ceased operations in 2003, after which she dominated the USBC Women's Championships, becoming the first woman ever to roll an 800 series in the event. Our next inductee is known for her outstanding performance in bowling's major championships. Tennille Milligan won 4 pro titles, 3 of them majors, in a career shortened by the demise of the PWBA. She then went on to a successful career on Team USA and at the USBC Women's Championships. John Janowitz, who is inducted for outstanding USBC performance, is an 8-time Team USA member and a 3-time USBC Open Championships Eagle winner, and is also one of the sport's foremost experts on lane maintenance. Janowitz once held the 3-game singles record at the Open, rolling an amazing 858 score in 2004. Next is Jerry Edwards, who served as Team USA head coach from 2004 to 2009, during which time she led the team to 47 gold medals in international competition. And our final inductee is a pro who had one of the best TV win-loss records in the history of the PBA. Danny Wiseman brought personality and originality to the sport, and was also voted one of the PBA's 50 greatest players of all time.
Be students, be teachers, be politicians, be preachers.
It's certainly my honor to introduce tonight's class to you. For superior performance, Tennille Milligan. Also for superior performance, Danny Wiseman. For outstanding USBC performance, Kendra Gaines. For outstanding USBC performance, John Janowitz. In the category of meritorious service, Jerry Edwards. And in the pioneer category, Tim Mack. Incredible bowlers, incredible records, but great people. I'm really looking forward to tonight. We're certainly looking forward to it. Frank?
Thank you, Chad. Congratulations to our inductees, a good-looking group for sure. Please remember that business attire is preferred for tonight's inductions. One other final item before we adjourn: if any delegate intends to present an amendment to any piece of legislation, please provide it in writing to one of our rules counselors prior to the start of tomorrow morning's session. That certainly concludes today's business. The USBC Annual Meeting is adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow.